Hi, this is Ray at AppliCad again. You might have already reviewed our tutorial on how to create the geometry of a roof such as the one you see on screen. The purpose of this presentation will be to show you how we apply materials to that roof and generate the cutting lists. And you will see how really powerful the AppliCad software is and how quickly we can create very accurate cutting lists and order forms and client proposals from the basic 3D model as you see here. The basics process, let's just recap that. We construct the roof and we check that it's correct. Although the two steps we've just completed, we are now ready to apply our materials. Now the job will become very busy in a moment, so what I'm going to do is turn off the dimensions and then we can turn them back on again later, and I'll turn off the roof planes. Okay, so the first stage is to select our cover material, and let's select a we'll select a metal panel. I've already selected one. It's an 18-inch standing seam, and I'm using various allowances and certain pay scales. Now the software does take care of pay scales, and it will allow you to build different systems. So more on that later, and that'll be the subject of another presentation. So we've selected our metal panel. The most important thing to check is the cover width, and when we hit OK, we're then ready to apply the material. The usual way to apply your standing seam roofing to a roof is to actually generate the roof sheets individually. So there we have all the roof sheets applied to that roof, and now we generate the cutting list. Now this will be quite a comprehensive cutting list because there are so many panels on this one. Whoops. So there we have the cutting list prepared. Let's go back there and look at that again. I beg your pardon, I cancelled out of that. Let's have a look at the cut list. So there's the cutting list for the entire roof. There's the total length of coil required in inventory to complete this project, and everything else we need to generate the roof. The next thing we do is to select our flashings. So we'll load up a standard system. I'll stand up this lock seam system, continue, and we can do the purlins if we need to. Now, in many parts of the world, metal roofing is applied over a plywood deck, so purlins are not appropriate, whereas other parts of the world, that's the standard way of applying metal roofing. We apply that, all the purlins then applied to that roof. We select continue, and as you can see here, the default for all the line categories in this roof, the default materials have been applied. It might be that you require to, instead of using a stock or standard piece, you might decide to use a custom piece. So if I was selecting a custom edge strip, so we might use this type 6 edge strip. The angle of bend and the length of each segment is displayed. It works out the stretch out or girth of the profile to be used, and this information, including the sketch, will be used to create the a detail workshop drawing for the production of that material. So if we hit OK there, we've now got all our materials selected for this roof. We then look at the allowance file. Now, the allowance file has been referred to in the past as waste. Well, it's not really waste. It's the extra material I need to ensure that I have enough. And one thing that the software will do for you is make sure that that's perfectly right. Run allowance is what we use to ensure that we have enough. I'd rather be 3 feet too long than 3 inches too short, and run allowance takes care of that for me. The other column there is the lap allowance. Now, the software knows the difference in how you produce your materials. Some materials are made as stock lengths of, say, 10 foot 4 or 20 foot 8, whereas others are cut to length in a roll forming machine. Depending on how it's made, the software knows the difference and will produce the correct list. Now, if you have lots of joins because your materials are stock length, then every join requires a lap consideration. So that's what we call lap allowance. For fascia and gutter, we normally supply additional material from which to fabricate our corners, and we refer to that as internal corner allowance and external corner allowance, so that we have that extra material. But based on that information, the software then, if I select generate, The software then goes ahead and generates the entire cut list for this whole job. Every nut, bolt, screw, clip, bracket, and butyl tape will be quantified and included in my proposal. So a very complex job such as this, it's just a couple of seconds work. It's going to produce the cut list. It will produce the layout drawing and placement diagram and workshop details for the entire job. I guess you've all had the experience where you've delivered your materials to the job site and the installers ring and say, "Hey, Jack, I'd love to install the gutter, but can I have some clips?" This is the sort of detail the software takes care of and ensures that you have enough. All right, here's our list. So we have ridge cap, all the individual lengths and total length. Valley, individual lengths and total length. This is an example of materials that are specified cut to length based on a manufacturing a roll former. Then down here we have purlins. They're stock lengths of 10 feet. We have step flashing, stock lengths 10 feet. We have fascia, stock length 10 foot 4. These are the examples of how material can be defined and how the software will create the list. The software also creates your complete material list for all your accessories, your corners and clips and screws and everything else. Couple of seconds work, it's all done. Continue that. So just recapping, we have a cutting list for purlins, we have cutting list for trim, and we have our cutting list for our roof sheets. This job's almost done. About the only thing I might do now that I haven't already, and that's to insert a couple of downspouts. It's painted, so I better specify a color. So I'm not going to do all of them. I'll just do a couple just so you can see. But you just specify where you want the downspout installed, and the software will apply it, and it will go on. And then we better put one. No, not there. There. And it's there. There's our downspouts all ready to go. So that's our job. It's just about done. If I tally all the downspouts, there's all our downspouts and all the accessory items to install them. And man, that job's now finished. So if I go to reporting, I've got the options for supply only if I was a manufacturer, and supply and install if I was a contractor. So the complete material list will now be produced and ready for me to print my report. Every single nut, bolt and screw is aggregated together in a complete list, and this list then provides us the mechanism to add additional materials that are not a function of the roof, such as crane hire, bin hire, permit fees. So there's all the stuff I need for this roof. There's all the accessory items and a whole bunch of things we call extra items. Extra items are things that you need on the roof that are not necessarily a function of the size of the roof, but things that you just know you need on a job site. We have a summary of the labour. That's a pretty cheap labour, that one. And the materials and the total cost of the job. Now, if I just get out of here for a minute and save this quote away, I'll say this is quote number 1 of whatever date it is, and hit OK. That will now be saved, and I can bring it back at any time. Now the reason I did that is that I forgot to turn the dimensions back on, so I'll turn our dimensions back on and hit OK, and then go back to our reporting, supply and install. Now it knows that I've saved the quote, but it might also, it might be the case that I've modified the quote, and in that case I'd get it to recalculate. But I'm going to use the one I've already done. There's my list. This list can be modified at any time. I might, for example, add crane hire from Fred's Cranes, and I need a crane, and I need that for 2 days at $1,500 a day. What I'm trying to show you here is that there are anything at all that you need to add, you just go ahead and add it. So the list can be built on the fly, or you rely entirely on what's automatic. Okay, so if this is our job, that's finished. I can now select print. The software will then prompt me for what report do I want to print. We have up to 20 standard reports, but you can define your own using the CAD program, using Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word, and you create a template in Word, and the software will then use it. So If we now go over here to this particular roofing acceptance form, we hit OK. The software then starts up Microsoft Word and then proceeds to fill out the form on our behalf. So from here on in, it's entirely hands-free. Now we just open up Word. Let's have a look. You watch what it's doing here. It's putting the details on the report and filling out the report for me. This report can be a single page, it can be 20 pages. That's entirely up to you. The process is entirely automatic, and dare I say it, even a monkey could do it. Now, I'm not connected to your printer, so I won't print, so I'll cancel out of there. But there's our proposal with the picture of the roof, all the information as required by you. This is a template defined by you. You define what you want, and you're ready to rock and roll. So, in a nutshell, that's our process. If I minimize that, I just need to recap on what we've done. No, we've done that. Let's go through it quickly again. We construct the roof model in 3D. Refer to the previous video on that. We check that it's correct. We select our cover material, we generate our cutting lists, and then we generate our reports. And those reports can be printed in all manner of sizes. There's many, many pages that you can do. Here's another example of a report just to show. This is about, how many pages is this, Ray? This is 8 pages. So we have customer details, installers details, a picture of the roof with dimensions, layout of our flashings and trim, the cutting list for flashing and trim, the layout for the roof sheets, and in this case it's the length of the roof sheets. In the example I did, I just used the annotation. Then we have the cutting list for the roof sheet. We have the purlin spacing if you do purlins, and you might do that on a pole barn, for example. The purlin spacing diagram so that you can see what you're doing, and a grid of the roof so that you can do a site inspection and annotate the grid drawing for things like penetrations and other obstructions on the roof that you might have to take account of or supply additional materials for. So these reports, there's one with all your roof areas, the individual roof plane areas. So these reports are entirely up to you. You design the report that suits your business and you're good to go. Well, that just about sums up in a nutshell a very complicated roof, but well, this whole thing, if you look at the videos again, the whole quote was done in less than 30 minutes. There's no other program in the world that will do such a comprehensive job in such an efficient way. If you need more details on AppliCad software, please give us a call. We'd love to show you more about what we do. We've just scratched the surface, and there is so much more that this program will do for you and your business. Thanks for your time. I look forward to speaking to you again real soon. Bye for now.